No, I think she kicked the living shit out of me, but it would be fun trying.
Hey guys, my name is James Walsh, and you are listening to the Wrestling Epicenter here on YouTube. I want to thank you for finding us. Please do me a favor and click that subscribe button and the notifications bell. And if you get the chance on this video, click the like button. If you do, it'll turn blue. Check it out. Also, check out WrestlingEpicenter.com for all this great content available in MP3 format, our online store that'll keep us going free and clear, daily news updates, as well as all the information from the history of professional wrestling you could possibly ever want. Check out WrestlingEpicenter.com online right now. Without any delay, let's get to your interview here on the Wrestling Epicenter.
Very interesting, guys. Well, joining us on the line is a man who was actually at the pay-per-view you guys are talking about right now, and is the father of WWE superstar John Cena, and a superstar of his own right, John Cena Sr. Sir, are you with us?
I'm with you, James. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's great to have you on. We've been trying to do this for a couple weeks now, so I'm glad we finally got everything, technical difficulties and everything aside, and got you on the line.
Thanks.
How you doing tonight?
I am fabulous. I couldn't be better. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, we got a lot of questions to ask you, but the first thing, since we were just talking about Backlash and the incredible events that happened at the WWE pay-per-view, I wanted to ask you, what did you think of how everything turned out at Backlash this Sunday night?
You know, never ceases to amaze me. WWE pulled one surprise after another. I think that people were shocked and amazed at some of the things they saw at Backlash. All in all, I'd sum it up as a good pay-per-view.
I would say so. Now, you being the father of John Cena, you saw the insane bump that he took at the end of the show. Now, being a parent, how do you stare at that, watch that? I mean, I know obviously we're all in the business, but how do you watch that and how do you absorb that, knowing just how risky of a move that is?
Well, I'll tell you, I didn't know what to expect as he picked up Edge for the Attitude Adjustment. And the next thing I know, I saw the Big Show come out, pick John up, and literally slam him through a spotlight. My heart went into my mouth. My eyes started to water up. This is the God's truth. I was with my sister and my girlfriend Nancy, and they had to come and get me. I had to get backstage to make sure my son was okay. I mean, they put him in a collar. They brought him out in a stretcher. I'll tell you something. As a parent, even though you're in the business, we all know that things happen in the business. But I'll tell you, I don't know what to say. I'm still at a loss for words. When I saw what happened, that has to be one of the most extreme things I've seen happen at a pay-per-view, other than some of the crazy ladder matches and casket matches and I Quit matches that they put on before.
Absolutely, and it was good to see that he actually was okay and made his way out to the arena on Raw. So he probably was.
I was there for Raw too.
Were you there for the Raw too?
I was there in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Let me tell you something. When the Miz called him out, I had all I could do not to take off my glasses and my jacket and slap the taste right out of that fool's mouth. You know, we know what it is, but at the same time, I just kind of looked at him and said, "I'm here. John Cena Sr. is here," and he just wouldn't look. So, if you notice, when John did walk out, though, he didn't walk out as the strut, salute, come on, let's come get some. He kind of limped out a little bit and had that kind of look of pain on his face when he came out.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes from here.
Excellent, excellent. Well, it's great that you're able to attend those events, and glad to get your perspective on how everything went. Now, let's go back a little bit of ways here, though. Which came first, John Cena, your son, the wrestler, or did he kind of learn a lot from what he's doing now from you being in the business beforehand?
I would have to say, as John and I have talked several times, and there's no argument from the old man, as he calls me, or Fabo, I'll call myself the second-generation wrestler, because I think when I started in this business, I basically did promoting. You know, you'd want a show to come in, I'd grab the talent, we'd bring the talent in. You know, doing bumps started probably, I'd say, a little before, after John got into the business. I had been doing some light stuff before, but I really got involved after John got in. So I'll stick with the second generation wrestler.
That's excellent. You were promoting events before John made it to the WWE?
I was. Before I was married, you know, I used to do stuff with Abe, and if you wanted a show to come into a college or you wanted a show to come into one of your venues, they'd book the show. I'd be the guy that would make sure it got going, got the people in. Naturally, took the tally, gave the split, moved on to the next big show, and did what I could, helped out with the chairs, with the ring, and if I had to, at some point, take a bump from somebody, that's where I began to learn how to do the thing.
Excellent, excellent. So that was something that you guys, you kind of introduced to John then?
Yeah, what happened when there were, I did, and he, you know, he knows where I came from and what I did, but I think John was really exposed to the business, or at least learned about professional wrestling. As I said many times in many interviews, when cable TV first came about here, I was the first guy to get it in my area for no other reason than to watch Saturday morning professional wrestling and get together with my son so we could sit down and enjoy ourselves. And as you know, one thing led to another. They watched it, tried it, built rings, body slammed each other on cellar floors, bulkhead doors. They actually even flew off of a deck into an above-ground pool. I mean, it was good, but at the same time, I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's kind of risky. Don't try this stuff at home.
Well, it was interesting to say the least.
Absolutely. We actually have a caller coming in from the 847 area code. Caller, you're on the air.
Patrick? Or is this James?
This is James. Who's this?
Oh, this is Andre.
Hi, Andres. How you doing?
Good, good. How are you, Mr. John Cena Sr.?
I am super. Yourself, Andre?
I'm doing pretty good. I was just sitting back, enjoying listening to you guys talk, actually, so.
Excellent. Excellent. We'll stick around, and do you have a question that you'd like to ask him?
Not right now. I'm kind of just enjoying listening, so feel free, guys. And
all right. Well, we'll have a silent listener on the line for right now. By the way, I don't think I actually have formally introduced you to the crew. First of all, let me introduce Patrick Kelly.
Hello, sir. How you doing?
I'm super. Thank you, Patrick.
And our other co-host is Nick Knoll. Nick, you there?
Yes, I am. Nice to meet you, Mr. Cena.
Well, same here, Nick.
Excellent, excellent. So we kind of like got through, half the interview, and then I introduced you to the other guys. So sorry about that, but
Well, I mean, James, you got to get with the program. We need a female as part of your team.
We did for a while. We had Francine as our co-host for a while there, and that was a heck of a treat.
Well,
yeah.
How about Cassie, James? Is she interested?
Cassie will not do it. My wife will not do it. She watches wrestling. She loves it, but she will not come on the air with us because she's intimidated by it. I think I made a mistake. And we do another website, and we had one of her favorite rock stars from when she was a teenager, and her first interview was with somebody that she, at one point, had a crush on. And I think I ruined her for the rest of her life for ever doing anything like this again, because ever since then, she did a good job with it, but she won't come on and do any more interviews with me or come on the air with us anymore. So, oh well. I think I ruined her by giving her too much too soon.
Well, you know what we should do? John Cena, Johnny Fabulous, to your wife. First, great hearing about your escapade. However, I'm laying down the challenge. I'm looking forward to speaking to you on the next time we do this wrestling show. So the challenge is down. I'm looking forward to chatting with your wife.
All right. Well, it's great to talk to you, Mr. Cena. And we're going to ask you a little bit about, you mentioned you do some promotions and you have some events coming up. Is that the case?
I do. I work for several promotions. We've got some big stuff coming up. I work for Powerhouse Wrestling. I work for Big Time Wrestling, Millennium Wrestling Federation, ECCW. I mean, we can go on and on with the indie shows. They're just fabulous and great. We got a couple of big ones coming up, and I mean really big ones.
Right.
You probably have heard through the grapevine that Big Time Wrestling will be bringing in one of the legends. That'll be on the 19th of June in Quincy, the 21st in Chicopee, and the 25th of September. We're back at the Danbury Ice Arena where it all happened with the Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
Wow, you're bringing in the Nature Boy. Excellent.
No, already done him. I think, John Cena Sr. Doesn't back down from anybody. And it seems Big Time Wrestling wants to hook me up with some pansy in a skirt. It's got some bagpipes in the front of his car, You know, he couldn't beat Jericho along with the other 3 Jericho losers, so they're going to bring him in to face me. You know, I guess the hit in the head with the coconut by Snooker really didn't knock any sense into this. I don't know what to call him's head, but you know what? 19th, 21st on Father's Day, and all I got to say to you is bring some extra bagpipes so we can play the funeral procession for you, because Rowdy, Roddy, Piper, and John Cena Sr. will either go at it verbally or physically, and I'll guarantee, no, as Vincent Kennedy McMahon would say, if I could quote the gentleman, I damn well guarantee they're going to take you out in a stretcher.
Oh, boy. And the last time we saw him taken out of the stretcher, he started speaking Gaelic. Anybody remember?
Well, you know, that's because he's been hit in the head so many times, and I really think he had lead paint chips when he was a kid. But you know what, Piper, I'm waiting. I haven't heard anything from you. The challenge has been dropped. You've got the dates. You know, as I say, first we had Mr. Geritol, the bleach blonde himself, Ric Flair. Now, I'm not saying away from Flair. I mean, he, in Webster, Massachusetts, I was in the ring. He cheap shotted me, slammed me off the ring, chopped me, and gave me a low blow. That's the only way he could do it, and wrapped the figure 4 on me. Naturally, I had to give in. But I'll tell you what, I'd like a second shot at old Baldy himself, and anytime, anywhere.
Baldy?
Interesting. Hey, listen, you know, I'm in character now. I hope you know that. John Cena Sr., Johnny Fabulous. Listen, if you take a good look at Flair's head, I get some photographs from the back. It's a good thing we lit the stadium from the sides, because he'd have blinded everybody in the balcony. That's how bald Flair is.
You know, this is going to sound terrible, but does anybody else think Ric Flair looks like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons?
Oh, man.
What did you say? I didn't catch that.
I don't know. Lately, last few times I've seen Flair, he kind of looks like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons.
Oh, that's mean.
I love it. I love it. Actually, Flair looked shot, fat, and ugly to me. Matter of fact, when I met him in Danbury, I gave him 2 bottles of Geritol. I gave him a wheelchair, a cane, a sharp-looking nurse in her 90s, because that's about all he can handle now. Space Mountain, let me tell you, has died out. The volcano is over. I said it before, and I'll say it again. The only thing Flair ever got up was his arm to his face when he had a drink. So the limited kid.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, you know what? Roddy Piper,
yes,
I don't know what you got under the skirt. I don't know what you got under the blouse. I don't even know if he wears eyeshadow and lipstick. But Piper, come the 19th, 21st, and the 25th, it's you and I, brother. And maybe my ex-champion, John Walters. And I guess it's time to teach the legend another lesson.
Oh, boy. So you went from John Cena Sr., the nice gentleman, to Johnny Fabulous. And pretty much no time. So where did the inspiration for this Johnny Fabulous come from?
The inspiration from Johnny Fabulous came when I went to try out for ring announcer. I figured I'd like to get back in the business. I had an upset in my life. As most people know, I had a divorce. And, you know, I said, I've got to do something. And there was an ad for a ring announcer. I went down. I tried out. They said to me, you have a great voice. We'd like to put you on. However, I don't think that's what we're going to use you for. And I said, fine, no problem. Thanks very much. He said, whoa, slow down. I would like you to come in as a heel manager.
Oh, boy.
I said, okay. You know, heel is old school heel. Ring psychology is something they don't teach the young men and women today. I think everybody in that ring believes you have to yell, scream, and tell people to, you know, use the F-bomb word. You don't really need to do that. You really don't. I can walk through the curtains and get booed just by looking at the crowd, because I'm short, fat, and ugly anyway, so it doesn't make any difference. But we had to come up with a name. And I said my first name is John, so Johnny what? You know, Johnny Longshot, Johnny Banker. You know what? I am absolutely fabulous. I'm the best there is. I'm the richest man in the world. And the more I talk, fabulous kept spilling out, and hence the birth of Johnny Fabulous, the richest man in the world, who has his own $1 million currency, who has his own private label wine and cigars. You know, it's just been a real hoot and a real ride, and I've really enjoyed the character. But they use Johnny Fabulous and John Cena Sr. Interchangeably now.
Do they?
Now, have you ever considered bringing Johnny Fabulous into the WWE?
I wish they would. I would probably think that once I got the boot, I kind of mean that with Randy Orton, and I did my thing in the ring with him. I don't know. I can just see Johnny Fabulous as the heel general manager for ECW. And then I could see a match between me and Vicky Guerrero, and then her tag partner obviously would be the man himself, Edge. And if I was the face, hopefully I'd team up with my son John, and we could have some fun.
You think you could take her?
No, I think she'd kick the living shit out of me, but it would be fun trying.
I hear she's learning to wrestle now.
Pardon me?
I've heard. I just read a few days ago that Vicky Guerrero was training to wrestle now.
You know what? Don't take anything away from that lady. She is a fabulous performer. She has come a long way from where she was when she first started. There's a perfect example of old school psychology. All she has to do is walk the ramp. I mean, she got so much heat in that ring at Raw, you couldn't hear yourself thinking there. She's just great at what she does, and hopefully, obviously, we wouldn't put two males in the ring against a female and a male, but I think if she does wrestle, I think that she's going to surprise an awful lot of fans.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you were talking about managers a few minutes ago, and that's something that I think we all miss. Now, we watch wrestling these days and remember how great the managers were. You're talking about Sir Oliver Humperdinck. You're talking about Bobby the Brain Heenan, Jimmy Hart. You got all the great managers that we've seen over the years. And you don't really see many anymore. Occasionally they'll bring one out, but there really isn't that many male managers anymore. It kind of got taken over by the females. Do you think that would be something that could still work today, especially with WWE entertaining the idea of going more PG?
Yes, I do. And, the last manager they had that I got a real kick out of was Alejandro Estrada. He had a good little gimmick going there. I think that professional wrestling needs to bring back the male manager. Paul Heyman proved that when he was in the WWE. He just walked that ramp, didn't say much. His facial looks did it all. Bobby Heenan, one of the greatest in the business. Lou Albano, Gary Hart. The first man that I was introduced to as a manager, per se, was the late, great Grand Wizard.
Grand Wizard, wow.
Let me tell you, I think they're losing a lot by not having the manager, because this is, I guess, my little feeling on it is that there are a lot of great professional wrestlers, male and female in this business, who can wrestle like hell but can't use the stick. And that's where the manager comes in. That's where he can be the mouthpiece. That's where he can bring and put his or her person over. The sideline cheat, the little gimmicks that go on the outside, only help to put that other person over in the ring. So that's my feeling, and hopefully WWE will look towards bringing in more managers, because I think you're right. If you look at the old school tapes, which I watch all the time to learn more and more, you can see how successful they were.
Absolutely. They were heat magnets for guys that, a lot of the guys that they actually had managers were excellent in and of themselves. Look at Kurt Hennig, in my opinion, one of the greatest of all time, unsung heroes of wrestling.
Absolutely correct.
And he had Bobby Heenan as a manager, even though he was a total package himself. He could cut promos, but just having Heenan added something extra to his shtick. He had Lanny Poffo, who was an okay wrestler, and he was also a manager for him. So I mean, there's always it isn't just the guys who can't talk that need the managers. It's also guys who just need a little something extra for their character, and it adds something. And I think that most of us would agree. Maybe we could see some more guys come out and do that, because I think even when you watch these indie shows, you've seen a lot of guys trying to be managers, and unfortunately it's kind of a, I hate to say it, but it almost seems like it's a dead-end thing, because there's not really being done on either WWE or TNA.
Well, I think the problem is that a lot of these young men and women who try to be managers don't learn the wrestling end of it also. You got to remember something, that it's great to be able to go out there and talk and shock, but you got to be able to bump. Sooner or later, you never want to touch the heel manager, and not right away, because you kill the character, as you know. but at some point you got to take a hit, you got to take a bump. You never really destroy them, just kind of tease it. So I think, you know, the ring psychology, learning to bump, and I think there is, and I really believe that TNA, WWE, I hope WWE is listening, because I really hope that they give second thought to bringing back managers, because I really do think it's beneficial to the business.
Absolutely. Now, we're going to let you off the phone real quick here, but a few weeks ago you did another interview, and normally we don't reference other interviews and other shows, but your comment got a lot of attention on the internet for whatever reason. I don't know if they were looking to create some controversy for your son, or what the case was, or for you, but you made a comment that the WWE storylines don't always make the most sense. And would you like to explain what you meant by that?
I'll be glad to. You know, I don't want to cause any more heat for anybody. That comment, I think, in terms of the websites, the individuals that put that up, I believe the headline read, Cena Sr. badmouths WWE. Well, you might as well put the whole quote up, because the first thing I did was compliment the chairman of the board, compliment the wrestlers, and then my quote was, some storylines don't make sense. And I think that you and everybody else in this business, no matter be it the indie show, the WWE, or TNA, some of the storylines that you follow have an abrupt ending. They don't finish.
Right.
Some have slow beginnings and never speed up. Those are the cases where the storylines just don't make sense. And I didn't mean that as a derogatory comment to the WWE. I'm not meaning as a derogatory comment towards TNA. Mm-hmm. I just think that anybody with the ability to reason and think can look at some of the storylines that have been created in all the organizations, and I'll defy anybody, and I don't care who that person is, to sit here or face me one-on-one and tell me that every storyline for every one of the great organizations, WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, Big Time Wrestling, makes sense. So to blow it out of context, in my opinion, I just think it was a way to create some controversy and to create perhaps a little more heat, unnecessary heat. But I said it. I'm not backing down from that statement, but I want to thank you, James, and your team for allowing me the opportunity to explain it.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you get any heat for that? Was there anybody who actually questioned you on what was actually said, or did it just kind of die there?
I really, you know, I was approached by several people who asked me, you know, gee, what the hell did you say that for? Huh. And then as I explained myself, like I just explained it to you, they said, oh, now the whole thing makes sense. Yeah, because, you know, to badmouth somebody means, you know, Roddy Piper, you wear a skirt, you can't lace your boots, you eat lead paint chips. That's badmouthing somebody. That's done for a purpose. The comment was not derogatory. It was not meant to be derogatory. It was an opinion by an individual who simply stated a fact. And again, whoever writes these, whoever wrote it, I'll defy him or her to face me one-on-one and tell me that they've never seen a wrestling show where a storyline didn't make sense at some point.
For some reason, the one that goes through my head all the time, and it's a dated one, but I'm going to mention it anyway. About 10 years ago in WCW, they did a thing where a white Hummer ran into Kevin Nash.
I remember that.
And Nash was back the next week. So my first thought was, does it really matter who did it? Because he's fine. But they made a big deal about it, and for like 6 months, it was like, who was driving the Hummer? And we never found out who. And it's just like, okay, there you go. That's an example right there.
There's a case of where a storyline, and again, thank you for backing me up on that, a storyline didn't make sense. And so that would be like Randy Orton kicking the heck out of Triple H, which he did at Backlash, and the next night Triple H is in the ring wrestling. I took that kick. I had a busted eye. I had a black eye for 2.5 weeks. I had 4 stitches in my head. I had a severe concussion. I was laid up from that thing. So that's where, if they did that, again, to quote John Cena Sr., that's where a storyline would not make sense. So I think that it was a case of, I don't know, they just wanted to create some heat or throw something up there and only put a portion of the quote nobody called and asked me to explain as you've done, and I hope my explanation makes sense, because I don't think that some of the storylines always do make sense in whatever organization.
Absolutely. And
well, that's an entertainment period. I could look at other TV shows where a lot of the storylines don't make sense at all.
There you go. So,
absolutely.
Again, I hope I've answered your question on that one.
Absolutely. And we kind of talked about a lot of different issues here, and you've made the headway on that. But I think the thing that we talk about usually at the end of most interviews is the media itself, and how the media. Shawn Michaels once said during our interview that with him, the truth is never as entertaining as the stories that people can write about him. So that's what he's always said, and that seems to be the case with everything. I mean, look at what happened. I'm going to name the name that WWE won't mention, and that's Chris Benoit. That we don't know what happened there. And let me ask you this: on another show, Michelle Mupo's Fuchsia and Friends, you mentioned that your son is very anti-drug. Yourself are very anti-drug. I believe you said your other son is also a bodybuilder. Is that correct?
My son Matthew is competing. He is a drug-free bodybuilder. That is correct. I have 5 sons, and they all, with the exception of my oldest, they all work out in the gyms, and none of them, and I mean that, use steroids or other drugs.
Absolutely. What is your honest opinion, being who you are and seeing what you've seen from your perspective, the way the media really pounced on our entire industry after the tragic events that was almost 2 years ago now with the Chris Benoit tragedy?
You know, I can only say this, and I really believe in my heart that the news media deals in sensationalism. You know, you get a bomb drop on a tunnel, but the big thing was we had a professional wrestler who did something, and the quickest thing they could grab was that story, sensationalize it, you know, attack every individual that's a professional wrestler, male and female. Yep. Steroid, this is the result. You know, there are a lot of other things happening in this world and in this country. And the media has, I believe, I call the media sometimes piranha. They go after whatever they can get the most meat out of. And professional wrestling has been in the headlines for a while, as you know. And I think it was very unfair to make a statement saying that this is the result of what happens when you're in this business. You know, I think both my sons have proven many, many times in the competitions that they're in that you can achieve a good physical body by hard work, proper diet, and nutrition. So, and I know there's a lot of individuals in the business that do the same thing. So, again, I think it was sensationalism. They grabbed it, they ran with it, they got all they could out of it, and then it just died. It left. There was nothing else to do.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to let you off the phone in just a sec, but where can people find out more information on John Cena Sr. and Johnny Fabulous?
Well, you can always go to bostonwrestling.com. Johnny Fabulous has his own TV show there, and I also have my website there. You can also go, if you want to talk more about or look for Roddy Piper or other upcoming shows with Big Time Wrestling, you can go to big-time-wrestling.com and take a look at some stuff right there. And also, you can listen to Fuchsia and Friends. I'm always there every Tuesday at 4:30, and I welcome any questions from any fans about any subject.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I can't let you go without one last thing. One of my favorite things about tuning in and being part of the Fuchsia and Friends show is hearing your impersonation of the guy that your company did some shoot interviews with. Can we hear a little Sheiky from you?
A little what?
Iron Sheik.
I wish I could do it real good, but, you know, I had the chance to work with him, and, you know, let me tell you something. I want you to know that Iron Sheik, I want you to know, Jesus God, everybody, Boston fan, everybody, I love you, you're good people, I think you're marvelous, you're wonderful, Iron Sheik, love everybody, I'll call you, I'll make you humble.
Tremendous. Thank you so much, John Cena Sr., right here on WrestlingEpicenter.com and Blog Talk Radio. Thank you so much, sir. We look forward to working with you in the future, and who knows, maybe we'll have a little bit of a rebuttal here from Roddy Piper coming up in a few weeks, and maybe he can answer your challenge.
Hey, again, let me just say this is John Cena Sr. the other guy before you let me go, I have nothing but respect for Roddy Piper.
Absolutely.
Understand that John Cena Sr. heel, Piper, as the man says, you want some, come get some. And you know what? When you come around me, make sure you get shirt, shoes, and pants.
Thanks so much, man. All right, thanks everybody, and we'll be back with more. We'll finish up reviewing Backlash and so much more right here on WrestlingEpicenter.com and BlogTalkRadio.com. This has been John Cena Sr. signing out.
Thanks a lot. Have a good night.